If you're like me, you lay awake at night staring at the ceiling, pining away for just one more glimpse, one more moment, one more tirade of lies coming out of the mouth of one Karine Jean-Pierre, the former White House spokesperson under Joe Biden. That's right. That little Raggedy Ann mop top, little cute as a button, checking all the boxes, KJP. She was so cute when she lied and stammered and couldn't keep her thoughts straight. She was actually the worst press secretary in all of history, but now she's got a much bigger job to do. She's got a book to sell. The media blitz started yesterday, and it was a disaster for her. Let's start with this morning, actually, on Morning Joe. Karine Jean-Pierre, but I'm so sorry. What is that? What? That's not my Karine Jean-Pierre. What is that? Is that Timo Beyonce? What is going on here? What? Hold on. This is Karine Jean-Pierre. That's Karine Jean-Pierre. I don't know what the hell this is. Who is she? What have you done with my Karine Jean-Pierre? What is she thinking? She's trying to sell a book. She's an international brand. She's known by a very specific look. Now she's rolling out in media and she completely changes her look. She literally does look like a different person. Also, I'm confused. So which hairstyle is the appropriated one? Is this what her hair usually looks like, and she appropriated the Raggedy Ann sort of mop top situation? Or is her natural hair the mop top Raggedy Ann thing, and now she's trying to look like one of Charlie's Angels? All right, let's set it aside. I don't mean to be petty. Let's focus on the content of her character rather than the style of her hair.
How to move forward. And for me, as a Black woman, as a person who's also LGBTQ, I feel as if those communities that I am part of largely get taken for granted. And I see that today in groups that are being thrown under the bus for a short-term win. And it is not the big tent party that I loved and enjoyed and was part of and fought for. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I want to start a conversation with how do we fix this? The system is indeed broken. The two-party system is not functioning in the way where our democracy is being protected right now. I feel as if the Democratic Party right now is too timid. They're not speaking up. They need to have a strategy and be really clear about how they're moving forward in this moment. And when I left the administration on January 20th, I was hearing from people. I would go around. I'm sure you all hear from folks too as you're going to the supermarket and doing the business of your day. And people would come up to me and they would say, "What's happening? What's going on? Why isn't the Democratic Party fighting? Where's their teeth? Why are they not standing up?" They knew this was coming. And it really broke me. It broke my heart to hear it because people were crying. People were upset about this. And so this is my way of using my platform to have a conversation, to start a conversation.
She's just trying to sell books. And she can't even do that well. A lot to unpack here in this clip. First of all, does anyone really believe that people come up to her at the grocery store crying because Democrats aren't fighting enough? Number one. Number two, she's left the Democrat Party because they're not fighting hard enough. So then where are you going? Now she's independent. Independent from whom? I mean, this is how the Democrat Socialists of America rise. This is how the communists rise. That's right. Democrats stink. They don't fight hard enough. We will. We know all about it. Grab your hammer and sickle. Let's go. So nobody believes that either. And by the way, honestly, I think it's really important as a newsman, carved out and formed by my mentor, Andrew Breitbart. I've been trained to watch a clip like this and pull out the headline, pull out the real nugget of news. And we had something breaking. I'm shocked no one else has picked it up. Did you hear it? This was from Morning Joe this morning. Karine Jean-Pierre, check it out.
How to move forward. And for me, as a Black woman, as a person who's also LGBTQ.
That's it. There it is. She's Black, a woman, and gay? I had no idea. If only someone had said something about that before. I mean, most of us just assumed that she got her job because of her talent and expertise as a brilliant communicator, even when the news out of the White House was less than positive. She was always great at spinning it so brilliantly off the top of her head, too. Didn't have to read from a binder. She didn't get lost. She didn't get muddled. But now, apparently, she's also Black, female, and gay. I don't know why they kept that a secret for so long. All right, a little bit more Morning Joe, because they're not buying it either. That's the beauty of this. They have no use for Joe Biden anymore. They certainly don't have any use for Joe Biden's apologists and defenders. The media now looks like the clown show that they are if they try to continue this game that they played back during the Biden administration, that Karine Jean-Pierre instigated and demanded from the media. See, she has no power or influence anymore. And the best thing the media can do is to go after her. How could you have lied to us about Joe Biden and his abilities? So she's got no constituency now. There's no one out there who's rooting for her, who cares about her. Oh, one other note. Did you check in the last clip where she said when she left the administration, honey, child, you did not leave the administration. You lost the election. The American people kicked you out of that office. You did not leave. You were sent packing. Oh, Lordy.
Subhead is a broken White House. You write early in the book here that there's obviously a lot of speculation about President Biden's decision to run for re-election and whether he was up to the job. But you write that you were part of his inner circle and, quote, saw no such decline, the decline that others have said. So talk to us a little bit more about that, about President Biden and how he was doing last year during this re-election campaign. And if it's not questions about his health, what made it a broken White House?
So the broken White House is about this current moment.
Okay.
So that's the clarity that need to, because I was really trying to be, yes, I talk about 3 weeks and I talk about the story of my personal side of the story of what happened and what I saw as White House press secretary. I think I can speak to it more in a different way, more personally even than most people.
So tell us what you...
Wait. So are you catching this? So the book is called Independent, an inside view of a broken White House. And now it turns out, and it's like, oh, okay. She was an insider. She worked for the Biden White House. She was the spokesperson. She knew Biden intimately and Dr. Jill and the fights with Kamala and Hunter and the cocaine and all of it. So now you're going to talk to us about that broken White House. Did you catch? Did you catch when she was challenged there? And she said, so exactly what was wrong? She said, oh, no. When I say a broken White House, I mean this current moment. So the broken White House that she's commenting on is the Trump White House? The one that she doesn't work in? Did I catch that properly? By the way, if you're confused and I'm confused about what the hell she's talking about and what this book is really about, it's really a testament to what a great communicator she is. Isn't it? I mean, this is quintessential Karine Jean-Pierre. She was always so clear and so forthright with delivering the truth and facts to the American people. I swear to God, I have no idea what this book is about now. Right? Am I the only one who's saying this? What?
About President Biden and how he was doing last year during this re-election campaign. And if it's not questions about his health, what made it a broken White House?
So the broken White House is about this current moment.
Okay.
So that's the clarity that need to, because I was really trying to be, yes, I talk about 3 weeks and I talk about the story of my personal side.
Wait, so did you, right? I'm not going crazy here. The broken White House that she refers to in the subhead of her book is the Trump White House, which she literally knows nothing about. The only White House she knows anything about is the Biden White House, which apparently was all hunky-dory and perfect and everything was great. All right, fine. Again, this is just such a disaster. It's beautiful. Let's watch.
For me, and to just understand, I saw the President Biden, almost every day on a daily basis. And what I judge him on, or what I saw, is from a daily basis. What I was dealing with, he was someone that was engaged. He was someone that he would call me in the Oval Office. I've been telling the story, and I would always be worried because I'm like, okay, he's going to ask me something and I have to have the answer for it. And he would want to know what was in the press. He would want to know if we're pushing back on stories. He would want to know, is our story being out there? And it was always engaging. This is someone that was on top of policy, understood history. And, you know, we've always said we're not going to hide, or we didn't hide that he was aging. And he would poke fun of it. He talked about this. No one is saying that. But he was someone that was aware and engaged and active in what we were doing on a daily basis. And that's what I saw.
Okay, so I want to warn you because we're showing a couple of different clips of Karine Jean-Pierre on her media tour. And you're about to hear her tell pretty much the same story over and over and over again. And what's amazing about that, first of all, is that, you know, you're selling your book. You should probably come up with some sort of creative way to tell the same thing so that you engage people and make them want to read the book. You shouldn't look so transparent so that we know that you've just memorized your talking points and you're repeating them no matter who you're talking to and what the venue is and what the interview is. But also, here's the best thing about it. Nobody believes that book. Nobody believes it. Do you believe that Karine Jean-Pierre was scared and intimidated when she was called into the Oval Office because she couldn't spar with the brilliant, insightful, sharp wit of Joe Biden? Okay, now that I've said it, maybe that is true. But that's really more of a commentary on Karine Jean-Pierre and her abilities than it is about President Biden and his. All right, so yesterday, CBS Mornings. Let's see how Oprah's bestie handled the questioning and her posse.
Because I, too, thought that. And you said, people said, why didn't members of his inner circle speak up about what many believe was the apparent decline of Joe Biden? You said, you're a member of the inner circle and you never saw the decline. And after that, I wrote, how? Yeah. You even write, Karine, that you were on the plane with him going to the debate and you didn't see anything.
Well, when we were on the Air Force One going to the debate, you got to remember his campaign people were on the team, his family was on the team. I actually was one of those rare trips that I didn't really see him until after the debate, even though I was on the plane. So really, I want everybody to know that I take this question incredibly seriously. I do. I was his White House press secretary, which means I had a role that saw him practically every day and traveled with him.
And you saw nothing.
For more than 95%. We've always said, we're not going to say, oh, he didn't age. He aged. And he poked fun at it. We always owned up. And with age comes what happens when you get older.
Which is?
But when we talk about the mental acuity, and again, I take this very, very seriously. I never saw anyone who wasn't there. I saw someone who was always engaged. I saw someone who understood policy, pushed us on the policy, and also understood history. And there were times, I'll tell you the story, there were times where he would call me into the Oval Office, and I would be like, oh no, because I knew whatever he was going to ask me was going to be direct, was going to be about a story he read, about how we're pushing back, how we're pushing a message forward.
And you write about the people within the party pushing him out. Some would describe those people fighting for a replacement candidate is fighting. But you also describe this current state of the Democratic Party as too timid. And what can the Democratic Party do to get out of this timid and even some will say disappointing place?
So timid that you've gotten out of the Democratic Party.
Here's the thing. I actually think that the system is broken. The two-party system is broken, and we need it to be fixed, to be working in order for a democracy. Look, just this past Saturday, millions of people, 7 million people.
All right, He goes on to talk about the No King's thing. So did you catch all of that? Again, the exact same story, in the exact same way, with the exact same inflection vocally. It's all rehearsed. It's all practiced. These are all the talking points. I don't think that's how you sell a book. If what you're trying to convey to the potential buyer of the book, that you're genuine and you're telling the real truth, because nobody believes that. Nobody believes that she was terrified about the tough grilling she was going to get from that brilliant intellect, Joe Biden. She's still telling the same lies she told when she was paid to tell lies with your tax dollars. Isn't it amazing that this amazing, sharp, brilliant, quick-witted, on top of everything, transcendent United States president, Joe Biden, was never seen by the rest of us. Only a small, privileged handful of people like Karine Jean-Pierre and Kamala Harris and Jill Biden were able to see that guy. By the way, where are the questions about the auto pen? Where are the questions about the family corruption? Where are the questions about her attacking people like me for showing you videos of Joe Biden's obvious mental decline when she stood there and lied to your face saying these videos are just cheap fakes? They're not telling you what's really happening. And then the debate happens and suddenly Joe Biden has to drop out of the race. Where's the apology for that? Where's a challenge to her on that? Going after journalists like me who told you the truth at the time? And it's pretty rich, by the way, to have a woman who was part of the Biden White House who helped engineer the removal of Joe Biden as the candidate and the coronation of Kamala Harris without one vote being cast to give her the Democrat nomination. It's pretty rich for her to sit here and say, the system is broken. I don't know how it happened, but this system is so broken. And we have to take back our democracy. And yet she was all in for Kamala Harris, who rose to the level of dangerously close to winning the presidency without a single vote cast for her to be the nominee. First time in over a century that that's ever happened. Oh, the system's broken. I don't know who did this. I don't know how it got so broken, but it certainly is. Yeah, you know what breaks democracy? You know what breaks the system? When you have an incapacitated president and people are using his auto pen to sign executive orders, legislation, pardons, and you're paid to stand up there and lie about it. And now you want me to buy a book explaining what a great liar you were and perpetuating the same lie? I don't think so, dear. I miss her old haircut. It got worse for her last night. You'd think you'd get a nice foot massage from Stephen Colbert. No, siree.
I saw a guy who I had not seen backstage at the benefit that I did. It seemed like a dramatically different person. And at 81 years old.
Wait, I'm sorry. I got to jump in here because you may have missed it. I just want to make sure everyone recognizes what Stephen Colbert did just there. That's not the guy I saw at the benefit I did. It wasn't a benefit. It was a political fundraiser, dude. You're a hack. You're a late night talk show comedian, and you lent yourself out to raise money for one political party and for one guy because you're not an entertainer. You're a political activist. And now he's trying to rewrite history. And say, oh, it was a benefit. Oh, it was for children with cancer. It was for orphans. It was for saving the whales. It was a political fundraiser. You lying hack. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Backstage at the benefit that I did. It seemed like a dramatically different person. And at 81 years old, that's not entirely unexpected. You can imagine why people got so worried.
So, a couple of things. I got to see Joe Biden almost every day. And this is a question that I take very seriously. No one has ever said he hasn't aged. No one ever said that. He would make jokes about it. He would acknowledge it. And he would say, yes, I know I don't speak this as well as I used to. I don't walk as well as I used to. No one is saying that he didn't age. I'm talking about, did he have the questions that I was getting, the mental acuity? Was he able to govern? And the man that I saw nearly every day was someone who was engaging, understood policy, and was always putting the American people first. And it showed in what we were able to get done. I remember I saw him nearly every day. I don't think anybody questioned
his heart or his policies, but it takes more than that to be the president of the United States. And in a moment of great pressure on stage, we saw someone shock us and worry us. And nothing could assuage that worry. So I don't think it was necessarily a betrayal of Joe Biden as other people saying, we don't think we were shown the Joe Biden that you saw.
I saw every day a really ugly assault on someone who had 50 plus years of experience and who, again, objectively had done a good job as president of the United States. And it was heartbreaking to see that type of behavior.
I think all of that, everything you're saying, I cannot I cannot fault the factual basis of what you're saying or your feelings about it. But what happened was the debate performance. Everything is downstream of that.
And no one is saying that the debate performance wasn't shocking, wasn't a disappointment. No one is saying
Disappointment
that.
is such a light term.
I use your words.
It was harrowing.
I use your words.
Okay, look, listen, we're never going to agree on this.
We're not.
Other than the fact that I'm glad that you came here tonight and
I
telling me to
appreciate
wrap
that.
over there. Would you like to say one more thing
but
before we go?
Oh man, that's a rough day. By the way, I do like. Nobody's saying that debate wasn't a terrible. Excuse me, dear. You were saying at the time that he was fine. Literally, like daily, when challenged. There's nothing wrong with it. Now nobody's saying that there wasn't a problem back then with the debate. She literally got paid with your tax dollars to go out there and say everything was fine with the debate. So even Colbert couldn't handle it. And did you notice you heard the exact same story 3 different times in the exact same way with the exact same words? I take this question very, very seriously. You didn't take it seriously when it mattered. When he had his finger on the nuclear button, when he was in control of the nuclear triad, when he was the commander-in-chief of our troops. You didn't take it seriously then. And we don't take you seriously now. You know how bad this rollout was for her book? On day 1, she was reduced to the Bulwark podcast with Tim Miller, and she couldn't even handle Tim Miller. Where are the puka shells, by the way? So I got to watch Karine Jean-Pierre without the Raggedy Ann hair, and I got to look at Tim Miller without the puka shells? What is this world coming to?
Like, the notion that this person was up for being president to 2028, was up for the communications responsibility of this job and fighting. No, well, if he won again, he would have to have been president all the way till 2028. I think that's an absurd thing to suggest, that he could have been president. Do you think he could have been president in 2028?
I can't speak to that. Here's what
obviously now.
Well,
I can't speak to that. That was literally her job. Do you think he could have been president through 2028? Well, 1 year ago, she stood in the the briefing room and said, of course he's capable of being president for 4 more years. Now, I can't speak to that. It's just incredible to watch. It's so bad. Who's buying this book? I sort of understood why people bought Kamala Harris's book as soon as we learned that she sharpened the fingernails and threw people under the bus. And she was a complete bitch to people who worked on the campaign and to the Biden family. Okay, fine. I'm here for that. But this? Who's buying this? Tim Miller ain't buying it.
In 2023, the winter and spring of 2023, we were coming out a successful midterm elections for Democrats in the sense that we didn't have a red wave. And it was seen as one of the most successful first.
You lost the House.
No, but remember, it was supposed to be a red. I'm not saying.
I know,
but historically, if you look at other first-term presidents, the midterm elections, okay, just follow me for a second.
Sure,
No, we're not going to follow you. I love that even Miller can't take it. Spring of 23, we came off that incredibly successful midterm. You literally lost control of the House. The gavel moved from Pelosi to McCarthy at the time. That was a huge success. And she can't help herself. She wrote half of these lies, and so she's just going to keep shoveling the bullshit. And Miller ain't having it, which is just a hilarious thing to watch. All right, one more. I'm sorry. I know I'm showing you the Bulwark podcast. I feel like I got to go to confession after this show. I'm so sorry, but it's worth it just to laugh at Karine Jean-Pierre.
He did have legislative wins.
Sure,
and
but he didn't talk about him that well, though. He couldn't talk about them. He wasn't campaigning.
No. Wait. First of all, he did talk about them. Whether it broke through or not, he did. Tim, he did talk about.
I mean, he talked way less to the press than Donald Trump does. Way less. And he wasn't out there at all. He wasn't good off the cuff. He wasn't doing press conferences. Let's just be real. Like, he didn't do paid events.
Tim, that's not true. Tim, you're conflating all of it. That's what you're doing. No, you're telling me he didn't talk well about it. Then you're telling me he didn't talk at all.
He didn't do either. He didn't
No,
talk very
he-
often, and when he did, it wasn't very good.
Yeah,
He sounded very
maybe
old.
you weren't paying attention to what we were doing at the White House. But
I paid attention. I'm with you on the policies. I'm talking about his performance.
The president spoke to the American people a couple times a week. He traveled and did domestic travel and talked directly to the American people.
He talked. Okay, first of all, I think on behalf of everyone watching this unfortunate split screen from the Bulwark, could I please implore whoever is doing the audiovisual technology for Karine Jean-Pierre, 2 words: zoom out. Please, we don't need the nostril cam here. I feel like I'm giving her a facial of some sort. The pores need some cleansing. I'm no esthetician, all right? Dang. But number 2, I love, like, he talked to the American people all the time. He talked to the press. Tim Miller's like, what are you talking about? Trump gives 4 press conferences a day. And Karine Jean-Pierre's like, are you kidding? We communicated with the American people all the time. Don't you remember when we would put out a 90-second Instagram video with 55 edits in it? That was my idea. It's just an absolute unmitigated disaster, and we love it. This is so great. And the fact that it was all left-wing media that chewed her up and spit her out makes it that much more satisfying. But can I just say something real fast? And again, she's a disaster. Awful. Terrible. It's brilliant. But Mika and Joe and the folks at Morning Joe and Gail and the team over at CBS Mornings and Stephen Colbert and Tim Miller and everyone over there at the Bulwark, the house that Bill Kristol built. I'm sorry. Now you're all challenging Karine Jean-Pierre. Now you're all pointing out what a disaster Joe Biden was. Now you're angry at her. Now, where were you? Where were you last year when it was obvious to all of us and we were called names and told that we were liars and propagandists? Where were you during the entire Biden administration where we were pointing out disasters in his policy? And then we got censored and canceled and deplatformed and demonetized. Where were you then? Where were you in 2020 when he was running from his basement and he was a disaster? Where were you on the Afghanistan pullout? Where were you? Suddenly you're all supposed to get credit because you're challenging this liar for lying on behalf of the liar you supported. Sorry. The game is not played that way. You're just as guilty. The only reason you get some moment of pretend redemption is because it's only your shows that Karine Jean-Pierre would dare go on to try to sell her pathetic little book.